Hello and welcome back to another 5K tennis discussion. Today is Wednesday, February the 25th, 2020, and we are here to get right into a lot of good topics. But today from what I'm told, it's a special day. So because of that, I want Carla to read a viewer comment to start the show, and then we'll talk about it just for a brief moment, and then get into the first tennis topic, which will be Maria Sharapova retiring from the game at 32 years old. All right, so let's start out with a viewer comment, Carla. Let's go. Come on.
Let's go. Today's actually Wednesday, February 26, 2020.
It's all right.
But that's okay. All right. This viewer's name is Stefan Mitic. He said, just subscribe. Now you have 1K. Keep up the good content. Well, both of you have greetings from Serbia. I really like your passion for tennis and your devotion. Keep your channel stacked with various subjects. Cheers.
All right, so I'm going to give you one of my, let's go, come on, let's go. Woo, Ric Flair, let's go. On the flip side of that, though, I think we discussed this. I think it was last night when Stefan sent us that message, and it was then where I think Carla and I were kind of googling up, is 1,000 subscribers a big deal? What does it do? I mean, why so I guess the long story short is that the reason why we started doing this YouTube channel was basically because Carla and I, we both coach the game, and we live on a very small island, and a beautiful island. We love the island, but in terms of people that we can, kick back with and really talk tennis with, as we are accustomed to living in, say, New York or California, etc., it was hard for us to adjust to that. At least on our time off from coaching. A lot of our students, they love the game, they play the game, but they don't know anything about any player.
No, they don't.
So I think how this started, and we've talked about this before, but Carla and I just said one day, we were in the kitchen, I think, you were preparing to cook dinner, and I said, Wimbledon's about to start, let's just go hit record on a camera and pretend we're talking with people and kind of just film it. And it just kind of went from there. I've never associated, we have never associated doing this with a number whatsoever. I don't think we've really paid any attention to it, whatsoever, except we just wanted to know that maybe we're delivering a quality product. And sometimes when we do this show, it's not like work. It's like, hey, the kids are set, we put food on the table, the house is clean, we taught our lessons, we've strung our rackets. Let's talk some tennis, and then the kids go upstairs and they chill out, and we have a good time, and that's how we have become to be. I don't like the name subscribers, though, because I feel like it's too mainstream or something. I like to think of it as more of a family or members. Carla and I have done fantasy tennis and tennis chat rooms for a decade or more. And a lot of the people we would meet along the way, that is doing these competitions and stuff together, it seemed like we would end up talking with them at night and in the morning and throughout it each and every day. And they became family. And doing this here, I want to always give a couple of shouts out to those that when I blew out my patellar tendon, that I followed this channel, that I went through a really gnarly knee injury. It broke my wrist at the same time. And I can't call subscribers, or I can't call people subscribers when they actually came into our lives to assist during that very tough time. So I think that the thanks is not to us. I think the thanks is to you. Any person that, leaves something negative, it's always been our goal just to get it out of there. I think the goal is to have objective people, hard-hitting, smack-talking people that can do it professionally. I get we slip at the tongue sometimes, but I think the goal isn't a number. I think it's quality of the family and the members that talk tennis with us, whether there's a tournament going or not. I mean, I don't know how to say it any better or worse than that. But this isn't a thanks to or a thanks. Let's go. We reached 1,000. This isn't we that did it. It's you. Because without you, I think we would have turned the camera off outside on day 1 or 2 and just said, why are we even doing this? This is a waste of time. However, Carla, you want to go down a list of people that were commenting from nearly the very get-go that kept us right here?
I mean, there's many we haven't heard from, but these are the guys from the beginning. I would say a year ago. I mean, a lot of people didn't comment. They watched, but they didn't make comments. Furzy09 was the first guy to ever make a comment.
What's up, Furzy?
I went so far back to look, and he was the first one that ever made a comment. Vlado Music Box one, which we don't hear from much. Vivek Bekachan, Fa, Aro Fallen.
Arul Fallen, he coaches college tennis at a high level. I won't say the college, but he's a high-level college coach.
You've said it a million times
Okay,
already.
go Troy Trojans! Let's go Troy Trojans!
Rahesh was like in our 5th video. He started making comments. Big Djokovic fan. Wayne Chia was the next one. Z Ivankova, AJ Malfoy, Kia Sama, Dark Knight, Stefan Sinizovic, who always sends me a message.
What's up, Stefan?
Sake, Stimpy Boy, David Rain, Millennium 13, Constantine, B-Dog 02,
The true.
Eric Cartman, Anis Sasu,
Oh, Fed fan.
Carteri, Dushan Dramakani,
What's up, Dushan?
Wildlife One,
What's up?
Ethan,
Oh, Ethan in New York.
and Sister to Queen.
Let's go, the poetic champion herself. Again, whether it's I think we had equally as a good time when there was 96 members or fellow patriots. Let's go, Dorje. Let's go. But I think at the end of the day, I don't this number. I mean, there's no monetary gain for us at whatsoever. I don't. It's great to have a number. We hope to keep the family growing, but the point is that this is yours.
Our next goal is 2K, then 3K, then 4K, and we'll keep going, right?
Yeah, and as long as everything's positive, then we'll ride the positive energy train. And if it's negative, then we'll just get it out of there as soon as possible. And if the number grows, great. If not, then having 1,000 people that pretty much, I think when we see their comments, we know who they are. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we kind of know their energy and know their vibe, and I think if you deviate too far from that, you run into trouble. You remember that movie with Adam Sandler, Spanglish? And he was like a restaurateur, and he had a restaurant, and he got all flustered because he cooked this perfect dish, and then the restaurant got too crowded, and he forgot about his local people and the people that were there from the get-go.
Yes.
I respect that model. I don't think that's what we're out to do here. I think it's out to have a wide-reaching range of objective thinkers, tennis fans, tennis enthusiasts, players, coaches, whatever, and then just let it dictate itself.
Right.
So thanks to all of you. Without you, there is nothing. So no need to thank us. It's vice versa. So thank you, and that's it.
Definitely. Thank you.
Moving forward, let's go. All right, here we go. So topic number 1, remind me to timestamp this. Maria Sharapova retires completely from tennis. I'm going to turn this over 100% to Carla because it's not that I don't like Sharapova, but since I was a boy, I've hated the grunt and screeching, and she just did that her entire career. So I have more things to talk about her screech level index readings than I do her career.
Well, she did retire through a magazine, which was obviously planned. They don't just publish a magazine and say, you know what, I'm going to announce my retirement right now. You're going to publish it today. So she obviously knew in her head that she was going to retire. The reason why she retired, she said, she had pretty much decided last year against Serena Williams at the U.S. Open when she went down 6-1, 6-1 to her. That pretty much she was at the end of her career.
Wait a minute, repeat that. What did you say?
If you read the article...
Wait, who went down 6-1, 6-1?
Sharapova went down to Serena 6-1, 6-1.
Okay, sorry. Yes, correct.
She went down 6-1, 6-1, and she pretty much knew when she walked out of that match that her career was done. She had dealt with a lot of shoulder injuries. We know she got a 15-month ban from meldonium in 2016, and she never quite recovered from that shoulder injury, and it's just time for her. I mean, she's had a great career. She's 32 years old. She became number 1 She started, first of all, tennis at the age of 4, which is like our little guy. He started at 2. She became number 1 in 2001 and again in 2005. She's made $38 million in prize money, way more on sponsorship. Her record is 645 to 171 losses. That's at a 79%.
Winning percentage?
Or 71%.
79, yeah. No, you're right.
79, okay. She's had a career Grand Slam, which many can't say. Silver Olympic medal in singles. 36 career titles. She won the Australian Open in 2008 against Ivanovic. She won the French Open twice, in 2012 against Irani, in 2014 against Halep. Wimbledon, which was, in my opinion, her best slam, was when she was 17 years old in 2004, where she destroyed Serena, 6-1, 6-4. I think she took the world by shock. No one expected her to beat Serena. Even Serena looked kind of dumb, right? Dumbfounded is what you call it. She Lost, yep. She won a U.S. Open 2006, where she beat Kenin, and we know Kenin was tough to beat.
One of my favorite players
of all time. She has Fed Cup as well. She's lost many finals.
I think she won the women's version of the ATP Tour Finals, the WTA Tour Finals. I think she won that once, too.
Yes, she's lost many finals to great competitors. 2011, she lost the Australian Open to Kvitova. 2013, the French Open to Serena. 2012, the Australian Open to Azarenka. And 2015, the Australian. So she's been in many finals. 5-time Grand Slam champion. Definitely will be a Tennis Hall of Fame. The biggest screecher, but definitely the most marketable tennis player in the world, in my opinion. We saw Anna Kournikova, and we thought, well, hopefully Maria Sharapova is not going to be like her, and she did prove us wrong. She kept her Russian citizenship, never changed flags. Trained at Nick Balater's when she was a little girl. We know her story. Her family, her father had no money, came to the United States, to make her dreams come true, and she did. To me, I will miss her. I liked her, even with her shriek.
It's more like blow your eardrums out.
Doesn't matter. Who can say they won 5 Grand Slams? Even with her ban, I don't care. There's players out there who had to retire because they did drugs like cocaine or stuff that you should not be doing. This drug was banned in 2000.
Who had to retire because they did that? I remember Gasquet went on suspension because he said...
And there's many players on this. Hingis was one that had to... do her retirement.
Whoa. If I remember correctly, Hingis had a debacle with a Reebok shoe that was designed for her, and then she had an ankle injury, and that caused injuries. I know there was some talk about...
She's retired a few times. Come back. Remember? Retire, come back. There's some iffy things with some players that had to retire, but for me, she had a great career. She's still marketable, and she'll be missed.
All right. Here's my take on this, and you can hate me or whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I'm going to start off with the Cincinnati Reds baseball, and I'm going to start out with Pete Rose. Obviously, a Hall of Fame coach, a Hall of Fame player, but guess what? He's not in the Hall of Fame. Why? Why is Pete Rose not in the Hall of Fame? Do you know, Carla?
Because he bet against himself or something like that?
Well, he never bet against himself, supposedly. But he's not in the Hall of Fame because there's an asterisk next to his name for nothing to do with actually cheating the sport itself in terms of physically with potentially a substance that makes you perform better with the likes of Ladonium, but because he bet on a team for a monetary gain, and there's no proof he bet for anyone outside of his own. What's up, Dave Raines in Cincinnati? We do have Cincinnati people out there, and Dave Raines got me a Cincinnati Reds hat last time he was here. Anyway...
of course, the day that we decided to do our show, somebody's cutting the grass.
Yeah, I just wrote this here. We have about 300 people that live here year-round, I think. Maybe it's more. Maybe it's 600, something like that. And then we got the lawnmower going outside. So sorry, I'm on a very important show. So hopefully that's not too much of a distraction. We do our best. Let's go. But let's look at if Pete Rose, and there's so many athletes that aren't in the Hall of Fame because of mistakes that they made. But if people like Pete Rose, who definitely is a Hall of Famer, is not in the Baseball Hall of Fame because of that, then I think there's an asterisk that you have to look at from Maria Sharapova. Now, arguably, she may have taken a Ladonium because of XYZ reason, because of XYZ trainer after her shoulder surgeries or whatever. But because the asterisks there, then one can assume and is entitled to assume. There's an old saying: when you assume, you're probably wrong. Assumptions will always just cost you dearly. But because the asterisk is there, one can always assume. So I also want to talk about the shoulder surgery that she had. I've had 2 of them. And actually the first one I have was in 3 different spots, and I was just under the same knife during the same one procedure. There was 3, I think it was labrum, supraspinatus, and I forget what the other one was called. But look, I've been there, but I recovered very quickly from shoulder surgery and was right back to doing, blistering serves and hitting the ball really well. When I ripped my shoulder up, it was anything that I pronated above the head. I could still hit forehands, I could still hit backhands, but when I went above the head, overhead serves, high volleys, whatever, swing volleys up high, then it would affect me. But after the surgeries, it was pretty well off, and relatively quickly. I will say that I don't buy into any excuse from the shoulder, because there's athletes that recover from way worse. Look, I was hitting balls today and I blew out my patellar tendon, couldn't even use my leg for almost 3 months, broke my wrist at the same time, and was hitting balls today, and we're like 4 months and a week since surgery. So don't tell me arthroscopic shoulder surgery is a true game changer.
She's had many shoulder surgeries though.
Whatever, so have I.
And by the way, back to your thing, why she wouldn't be put in the Hall of Fame? If a player like Agassi, who admitted to doing drugs, a player like McEnroe, a player like Hingis, who had to go on live television and say why she was, a player like Capriati, they have the Hall of Fame. Why wouldn't Sharapova?
There's a difference here, Carla.
What's the difference? This was banned in 2015.
If you give me 30 seconds without interrupting, I'll tell you the difference. And I'm sure anyone out there that's any type of performance coach, fitness trainer, or any fan with a sense of brain will understand the difference, okay? Mm-hmm. Number 1, if you go out and snort a line of cocaine and you run out on the tennis court, is that helping your game? Or is it taking away from your game? You don't know. I mean,
I don't do anything,
okay. So it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you sleep. It doesn't help you recuperate. If anything, it's a game changer for the worse. Okay? So let me just be straight and upfront about that. So the Ladonium thing is a performance enhancement thing. You're an idiot if you think you're going to go out and party and do a bunch of cocaine and then show up and play your best tennis. However, on the flip side of that, if you have something enhancing your performance with the likes of Lance Armstrong and his wonderful asterisk career, then we understand it's a game changer to the advantage of the user, and not to, if I saw Gasquet or Hingis and I was like, I'll play you in a set, I think I would say, yeah, please go to the locker room and please go do that.
So
I might have a chance, right?
Meldonium cannot improve athletic performance, but it can stop tissue damage in the case.
Good for her.
Okay. It's not a performance drug. Okay,
well, it stops the body breaking down. That's enhancing, isn't it?
How many players take medication?
I think she just stumbled and stuttered.
No, it's stupid to me because we did this before. How many players take painkiller, whatever? I don't take any. Agassi mentioned that many times he couldn't play matches unless he got a shot of this or a shot of that.
All right,
I'm just saying, we got to respect her career. 5 slam champion.
No disrespect to her. She's a great businesswoman, whatever. I never cared for her because of the screech.
I get that.
And always, I've never cared for her because of that, since day one.
That's great. But again, this is her tennis career. She had a good one. I mean, 5 Grand Slams and many finals. That's admirable.
Okay, well, you wrote down this huge list of accomplishments. Let me tell you what I wrote down in one paragraph.
I didn't write a huge list. I wrote a brief summary.
Okay. In my opinion, Sharapova retires. 1 screecher out of the game, thank goodness. No disrespect to her as a lady and as an entrepreneur and a student of the game. Please share it with all as she does. Yes. But thank goodness 1 screecher's out of the game. Yeah. She did have a career slam, which you mentioned. She did have the same record, 641 and 171. We wrote the same thing. Mm-hmm. Last year, there was a match, and I found this. She was one of our initial screech level index meter record setters in one of our old shows. She scored a 9.854873, so she's a first ballot Screech of Famer. Her best match was against Serena Williams in 2004 Wimbledon, where she beat her in straight sets, but it was shortly after that, maybe a couple years, where the whole triangle of Dimitrov came into play, where wasn't Serena like dating Dimitrov, and then Dimitrov
Wait later, because she was just 17.
Okay, well, She was only 17, doing big things. Anyway, the screech is gone. Yes.
Now we just need Sabalenka out, Risk out,
And look, that's no.
Zakari out.
Again, my dislike towards Sharapova is not from a personal point. It's from a tennis standpoint, and I think that her scream is freaking hideous.
It's horrible.
Hideous.
Yes, I agree. That I don't take away from her. But her career is done, and, life goes on.
All right, so there's one thing that I had written here that I wanted to mention, and that was the new trial that the WTA is doing, the women's side of tennis, is doing with the coaching on the sidelines. We've talked about this a ton, but now I've had this written down for a week. That shows you how we've been kind of working with people out there and coming up with different stuff because of you. Again, thank you. But I've had this here for about a week, and I just wanted to mention it briefly. Carla and I have never cared for any type of coaching on the sideline from a player's perspective, and we'll explain that. But I didn't. I say we. Tell me if I'm wrong. But what we didn't understand before this trial began here recently was that there would be like a coaching box on the sideline, and the coach would be like right in this box right next to the court, and then the player could look over at the box every single time, and they could just be like bickering back and forth. So there was a match that we watched. I won't get into names because there's been like 10 since then we've seen, where the girl comes up, hits the shot, misses the shot, next to shot, whatever, and immediately she's looking at the box, and the coach is over here, and he's pulling his hair out. It's an ugly look. It's really an ugly look. Furthermore, from my perspective, and then I'll turn it over to you, Carla, but if I was on that damn tennis court and I had some freaking egotistical fool telling me what to do the whole time I was on the court, every shot I hit, I'd be like, dude, chill, bro. I got this. Leave me alone, dude. Chill. Go up there. I don't need you here, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? It is absolutely childish. It looks like I'm watching junior tennis sometimes with the angry dad on the side of the fence looking like a fool, even though I do that to my kids. So I'm a hypocrite here. Yes, I do look like that, the foolish dad. That's me admitting. But in pro sports, in pro sports, I'm watching two players.
I don't have much to say. I agree. I don't have much to say about that, but it's just, hopefully they never do that at Grand Slams. I think it's distracting to the player. I'd find it distracting. It's good. Okay, I could see it a few times, but like that, no. It's just sometimes they don't even look at them. I don't know. It's disrespectful, distracting.
It's an ugly look. I mean, I don't tune in to watch television, and I don't watch too terribly much television. And nor do we, I think we've kind of gotten away from breaking down every single match and scores because everyone gets that anyway.
But I have to.
And there's like 300 YouTube channels that you can go to and get match scores.
I have to mention there are some disappointing players so far this year.
Sloane Stephens.
Ouch. She lost to a Mexican player. I wrote down her name here. Zarazua, 275 in the world. Looks like Sloane is done with tennis. I had a viewer that sent me an email about that, Anthony. She just looks like she's done. She doesn't want to be there. Another one, Kyrgios, right? Had to withdraw yesterday from his match against Humbert. Was it Humbert or Humbert?
Humbert. Yeah.
It's not the doubles player. It's the younger one.
No, that's Herbert.
It's the younger one.
It's a 22-year-old Humbert who's a much better singles player. Herbert is the doubles player.
Players, all the fans booing him. I mean, his injury hasn't healed. Looks like 3 tournaments. Venus Williams, another one that we will be hearing about retirement soon here. I am pretty sure she goes out after having 7 match points. Crazy. Svitolina has yet to win a match. Loses to Anisimova. And Sofia Kenin, what's going on with her? Hasn't won a match since the Australian Open.
No, she's won 1 match. She's won 1 match. You said no. Let's get our facts right, because someone's going to tear your head off. She's won a match. She's only won 1 match since the Australian Open.
But she's losing to players that she normally.
You got to get your facts right. I didn't even have that written. I knew that.
Okay.
All right. Real quickly, the Nick Kyrgios thing. Nick Kyrgios is a big player. He plays big. He hits, especially on his energy that he puts out on the serve. And when he gets into a match, he puts out a lot of energy on his ground strokes. We know that he doesn't work out a lot. We know that he's not the most fit. We know that his diet's not spot on because he's often seen, All
right, I'm right. She has not won a match.
She won a match since the Australian Open.
She played Dubai, lost to Rybakina.
She's won a match.
She played Qatar.
Let's ask him before we argue about that. We'll look it up later. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. She's won 1 match since the Australian Open.
No.
If I'm wrong, they'll catch it.
In doubles, not in singles.
They'll catch it.
Okay.
Nick, I heard it last night watching a match, and that's why I know. I didn't look it up. I'm not a genius. I'm a dumb human being. But unless the commentator on whatever channel I was watching, they were talking about Monfils because he's won 11 matches in a row. And they said, unfortunately for Svitolina, she's only won 1 match since the Australian Open. But so that's not my word. So call whoever out I was watching. Anyway, but back to Nick Kyrgios. Nick Kyrgios expends a lot of energy on the court. And because he doesn't keep his body fit, he wants so much out of his body, but his body can't give it to him. So he goes big, he gets hurt. I know the feeling. I'm 42. I blew out my patellar tendon jumping up for an overhead I had no business of doing, and I blew out the leg. But nonetheless, if I was as fit as most people are on tour and in the gym every day and dieting right and so forth, I probably wouldn't have gotten hurt. So for the fans, though, to disrespect him like that, I disagree. Unless you're on the court, unless you are the player and your career is on the line or whatever's left of it at this point, then I don't blame him for retiring. But if his injury was that suspect, I think I would have gone out on the practice court first and tested it and retired before the match started.
Obviously, he didn't want to keep going.
We talked about this.
He didn't want to keep going.
Venus Williams, in my opinion, still plays for some of the same reasons that Roger Federer still plays. I said some, not all. Venus Williams has a clothing line. She promotes it at the Australian Open, has her own shop there. I think the same thing is on par at the U.S. Open. So if she shows up in her office, in her store with her signatures ready to be signed and clothing tags to be signed, then it's beneficial for her to be there, winning or losing. Monfils, the Svitolina kind of tie up here, the relationship between, I think it's benefited Monfils incredibly. He's won 11 matches in a row.
They took turns because it was Svitolina, now it's Monfils. They took turns.
I still think no matter how well Monfils is doing, if he's playing Djokovic, there's no change in his future of losing to him every time.
Agree.
Ending the show, I do have a classic comment that I want to read, and this came in last night. From Tennis Sir. What's up, Tennis Sir? Love this guy. All of you guys. But Tennis Sir always comes in with some really off-the-wall kind of reality-checking stuff. So this comment is from Tennis Sir. And this has to do with Rafael Nadal. So I'm going to read this comment. So the other day on a show, we were talking about how many times does Rafael Nadal pick his butt during every tennis match. And I never thought about a variable that Tennis Sir brought up. So let me read his comment and then we'll talk about it for a moment. Okay? Quote unquote from Tennis Sir. I predict the Nadal butt pick meter will go just north of 160 butt picks if it's a 2-setter and 250 butt picks if it's a 3-setter. It's amazing that his opponents still shake that hand after every match. Now, the butt pick count was in reference to him playing Andujar, which he won easily. So it was a 2-setter. So I think we averaged it out. I think Nadal did come in around 160 butt picks. So
you didn't even watch a match, so stop.
Well, it's true.
Stop, okay? Because guys, he has a pair of shorts.
Okay.
First of all, he has underwear shorts.
We're gonna go too long for you to defend.
Okay, so I can't say anything, but you can say anything.
Can I finish with my train of thought, and then you can defend your little horse puppy? Okay. Now.
At least I'm a true fan.
Whatever. I don't hold on to people and puppy dog them when you know they're the has-been. Let's move on.
That's why you still hold on to Venus. Mm-hmm.
When was the last time
You always defend her.
When was the last time I put Venus Williams on my fantasy team?
On the last one.
Did I have Roger Federer on my last fantasy team?
No, but you have Venus.
Whatever. I didn't have Venus on my last one. Let's pull up the paperwork.
Let's go back. Why are you getting so angry? Calm down.
Can I finish this?
Life is short.
Can I finish this? Tennis Sir's brilliance here was not about the butt picking count. It was about the stinky hand that his opponents may get. Now, think about this. If you're playing a tennis match and you're drenched in sweat and you're picking your butt all the time on those wet shorts, tell me you don't have a stinky hand. You're going to have a stinky hand. So you're the opponent that comes up to the net to shake Nadal's hand. Tell me you don't have a stinky finger. Do you have a stinky finger?
I don't think so.
I bet you when Nadal comes and shakes your hand, now you have to think about it. You have to think about this. He's left-handed. So he's holding his racket in his left hand as he comes up to the service line. So he's holding the racket. He's got a ball. He puts it in his pocket. And then he picks the butt. So he has to pick the butt with the right hand. He's a right-handed butt picker. So you have to look at what hand he shakes his opponent's hand with at the net. If I'm Nadal's opponent, knowing the brilliance of Tennis Sir's comment here, I'm looking for the left hand at the net. If he comes up and gives me a left hand, I'm like, what's up? I'll give you a backwards. Even though I'm right-handed, I'll give you that backwards left hand, still firm handshake. But if you're coming at me with the right, I'm like, whoa, you got some sanitizer, bro? Because that hand's funky. That's a funky-ass hand. Been up in that ass 260 times in the past 2 sets. I'm out, dog. I don't even want to give you props. Let me give you like a shoulder tap, left hand or something.
If you're a man's man, you don't really care about that. That's pretty boy stuff. I mean, how many times...
You tell me you want shit on your hand?
How many times do we see guys pick their nose on TV, spit? I mean, just grab stuff.
You want sweaty butt crack on your hand.
But it's got clothes. I can understand if he was going under his pants.
You telling me you've never been in like a locker room after football practice or whatever, and you got a whole pile full of jock straps, and that shit don't get funky?
I'm sure it does. I'm sure they also
so why do I want to put my hand on someone that had their hand on their ass?
Why do you care about your hand smelling good if you're a guy?
That's okay. I go shake Nadal's hand. I'm like, what's up? Good match. And I don't realize it. Then I go and I sit down and I start to take my hat and my headband off. And I breathe. I breathe because I'm human. I have to breathe. Oh, and then you get stinky face.
Oh my gosh, you guys are dumb.
Think about Roger Federer and Tien when they do all this stuff. What if you had stinky hand? Now you got stinky hair. The proliferation of hand stank. Thanks to Rafael Nadal. Stinky finger, stinky hand, look no further.
He obviously had nothing else to talk about.
Is he a switch picker? Does he pick with the left hand?
I don't know. I don't watch. I don't know.
We love you guys. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to your channel. And we will see you mañana. Much love, everyone. Thanks so much to all of you. Thanks for the support. And we'll see you tomorrow. See ya. Here's our little 4-year-old ready to go. Watch out for this guy. Our little 7-year-old Gabriella doing big things. Let's go. And Carla is always showing the little guy how to coach. Much love, everyone. Take care.